Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Mac. Welcome back to another showcase here from Wargame Design Studio. Sicily 43 Panzer campaigns there. Right. So I was talking about this before, and I've probably written about it on my channel as well. One of these games I picked up during the summer sale. It seems like a long time ago now, but I'm having more time to record and stuff. Anyway, right, so here we go. Sicily 43, man. This will be my first title that I own that's actually in the Mediterranean theater. I mean, the Italian campaign, so to speak. This is actually about, as it says, Sicily 43. The invasion and liberation of Sicily, so to speak. There's quite a bit that comes with this game. I'm going to go through it, check out what actually is in the title there. So what I usually do is take a look at all the documentations that comes with the game here. Right. So first of all, there's a change log. It tells you about what they did, because this one has the 403 patch, the newest one. So this one is probably available on the website as well, so you could probably have a read on it. But they have made all the new changes that they've done to all the Panzer campaign titles. This one has the implemented graphics improvements and all the goodies that came with that, and of course fixed some bugs and stuff. So that's comes with the game, of course. Right, the notes, the designer notes, I think you can actually see these on the site as well, if I'm not mistaken, but you probably can. But I'm going to go through them anyways, because there's some viewers here that probably haven't seen these games before. So we always have some new viewers that comes in and have a watch. And if you are, please like and subscribe and stuff. Helps me a lot. What the designer notes in this particular title doesn't actually speak that much of the history of the game. I mean the history of the operation, as some titles do. This one has a lot about how this game came about, and how they looked up the order of battle and stuff, and maps, command, and there was a lot of stuff that went into this operation, and a lot that was new for the Allies as well. This was the first major big amphibious assault prior to the Normandy invasion there in June 44. So this is like a whole year ahead, which is kind of nuts when you think about the amount of production, man, that must have been going on during the Second World War. Man, the amount of stuff that was produced. So to talk about that, there's another interesting thing in this, actually. They have the scenario list. We're going to go through them, I think, when we look in the game. But not a shitload of scenarios, but definitely a lot. Definitely enough. Especially, they put a lot of emphasis on the big campaign, the full shebang of the whole thing. The 38-day operation. I think it took about 38 days to get the access to abandon Sicily and pull back into Italy. But they have some as well, covering some of the major fights as well. Some of the Messina and Leon Forte. Yeah, so they have these as well. Anyway, so they have scenario overviews. That's good. They're actually in the game as well, but they're on PDF for you to look at before. So you can have a read of what actual scenarios come with the game before you buy it. And then they have the War Diary. So this is pretty fun, actually. They put this in here. It's a section of a copy of the actual regimental War Diary for a battalion of the infantry that served in the campaign. So I think that's pretty cool. So you can have a read here about an actual diary that they have written. So that is very cool, and I haven't read it. It's quite extensive, but It would be fun to sit down one evening and read this. Actually, it would be very intriguing. And then they have reference lists, books and stuff, and research and all that they usually have. But basically, the first part of it's mostly about how the game came about, and then they have the scenario overviews and then the war diary there. So that's the designer notes. The getting started is really good, as always. The Wargame Design Studio makes always good getting started scenarios. This one is actually very well depicting the chaos that eluded the first couple of days, a couple of days, I would say, of the operation there. Good scenario to play. If you want me to play this, I could do that on camera. It's really fun. And then they have the almighty user manual. As we know by now, it's whopping 240 pages, man. So, yeah, it's all here, man. It's really good. It's well written, easy access to click. Everything is here now. Very easy to find everything. You just, whatever you want, you just click it. Like, oh, you want to go check out the assault resolutions? Boom. Here's all it. Yeah. So it's really good. I really like it. What else? There's something new here as well, I think. Yeah, these are the features that were added in previous games as well. Yeah, so really good manual, man. It's extensive for sure. What else comes? Yeah, there's some. We're gonna have a look at this. There's actually two huge campaigns. They are meant to be played head to head, and it's from by Cesar Indraginier Moreno. I think he's like a legendary man that's designed a lot of some huge scenarios for John Taylor Games and the Wargame Design Studio. So they're the optional rules. They're going to be in the game, and that's the number of the scenario. And here are all the special, because these differ from this is a different designer, so it differs in rules, and so this is quite an extensive read to get into if you want to play that variant of the scenario, man. He's done a lot of changes to sort of represent his take on it and the more realistic view in and research. So that's interesting, quite cool. And there is another variant too there, I guess from the same scenario, but this variant too includes a modified map, which have extended the terrain to the edge of the map, ahistorically, to allow Axis units to retreat off the map. The Axis player will get no victory points for this, but may deny victory points for the unit's destruction as the allied player. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, because that's actually quite historically correct, that because the Germans and the Italians actually managed to pull a heck of a lot of troops. I think over 120,000 troops managed to actually pull out of Sicily before being encircled and destroyed by the Allies. So that was quite a feat there. That's pretty cool, actually. It's head to head. So we're going to have a look at these are huge, though. I must warn you, there are over 300 turns, so it's a real commitment. What else we got? Yeah, and there's some campaign maps. This I always like that they include some of this stuff. Attack vectors, the invasion plans. So, yeah, this was Montgomery controlling the British forces here, and here we have Patton, famous general Patton. And they did not get along with Montgomery and Patton. They were two completely different generals and different way of looking at tactics. So that in itself is quite a soap opera when it comes to the conquest of Sicily. It's really fun read. I read some books actually on it, and I have watched a few documentaries, and it's kind of fun how they were bickering and how it was actually, like it was almost like two schoolboys duking it out in the schoolyard, who is the best commander and all that. So kind of fun. Montgomery was known to be meticulous and slow and very planning, and minimize his losses and very cautious commander. While Patton was, as we know, waving his gun around and just going for the kill, and much more aggressive commanders. So, and at the start, Montgomery he was tasked because there was a mistrust actually from the maybe the British or the Allied commanders for the Americans because of what happened at Kasserine Pass. When the baptism of fire for the Americans when they were totally taken by the German forces there and were beaten back and took some heavy casualties, and it was their baptisms of fire basically in the European and North Africa campaign. So they had a lot of green troops, man, and they just came straight from boot camp, and they were meeting like battle hardened German troops, man, that had seen it all and done it all. So of course they would take some heavy hits before they accustomized to the fight and get into it. But actually, by this time, when the invasion of Sicily began, they were pretty badass. The American troops. But what I was coming to, the British were actually tasked of doing the main push, to get to Messina and capture that, and the American forces, Patton was mainly tasked to be a flank defense for that major thrust. And I don't think Patton was very happy about that because he wanted to attack as well, show off his division that they were badasses and they could do the same job basically, which they did. So it's pretty funny, and that's why it's called the race to Messina, because they at one point, because the British got stuck here around Catania, the defense was pretty stiff by the Italians and the Germans here, and so they were slowed down. And in Montgomery was starting to use some of Patton's routes that he was supposed to be using, and that pissed Patton off, and they actually were not very happy about each other there. And then I think the Germans had one last real, I can't remember the name of that defense line, but they made quite a defense, and they got some reinforcements as well, and their divisions had pulled back, and so the Allies were actually quite stalled here, and they did try to make some amphibious landings along this coast to sort of try to capture those forces here, but all of them failed. The Germans and the Italians were always one step ahead, and they finally managed to pull the forces out of Messina to the Italian mainland here. And then actually Montgomery got to Messina first, and then Patton arrived a few hours later. It was sort of funny, but yeah. Yeah, so, okay, I got stuck on this map now. It's fun talking about the history here. I think the Italians had like 2 divisions, and the Germans had 1 division, I think, present, because the Axis were actually fooled by deception from the Allies. They made they planted some false documents and stuff on a dead body, and it was found outside the Spanish coast, and as we know, the fascist Spaniards were sort of allies with the other fascists, and they sent that information to German intelligence and stuff. So, and on that paper, it actually, the Allies said that they were going to, the main thrust was going to go on Greece and can't remember the other place now. It was another island, just sort of northwest of Sicily here, but so the Germans actually put a lot of reinforcements there and prepared defenses, and Sicily was sort of lightly defended actually, but this is where the main thrust was, and they sort of attacked it, and they did a lot of bombardments. They destroyed a lot of the Air Force, the Axis Air Force on the ground. But there were some vicious fights. The Hellman-Göring division was actually present on Sicily, and they were pretty badass and some good equipment and stuff. So they fought off. They did some pretty good. It was actually quite close that the Americans were actually beaten off the beach, because these 2 divisions actually pushed pretty far, and it was sort of a precarious situation before it was only what I read that the Germans and the Italians did not go on. They didn't come on. They weren't on terms either that well because the Germans were sick and tired of the low morale and the constant losses of the Italians they sort of weren't actually communicating very well, and it was because of that the Allies actually managed to get the initiative and push them back and get that beachhead and get all their troops ashore. And once they did, it was sort of game over for the defenders there because they were vastly outnumbered and stuff. And as we know, the Allied power of equipment was just overwhelming, and forces. So it was close, but no cigar basically. And then it was a fight retreat in this. This is very tough terrain. Sicily is very rocky and hilly, and it really favored the defender for this place. So it didn't really matter that the odds were against. I mean, because the defense was more easily, or usually the Germans and Italians were defending from high ground, which they could utilize their armor better and their artillery and anti-tank and stuff. So it was really tough going for the Allies, and it was a hot summer too. It was really warm. So many suffered from dehydration, and there was malaria. Apparently, lots of people got malaria, and it was just bad, man. It was tough going. And you can imagine the hard it must have been to get like fresh water and supplies up and stuff. So I mean, it was a tough and grueling fight, but they did a hell of a job though, in 38 days to pull this off. So that's pretty cool. And I think in the same time, Mussolini, the fascist party in Italy, wanted to get rid of Mussolini. They were not really happy with what he had, accomplished, and that's when he was imprisoned. That's actually quite a bit later, but I think he was imprisoned, and then that famous rescue when Hitler sent those paratroopers to rescue the special forces. So that is another chapter. Anyway, all right. So that is some history. What I know, I'll probably think of more as we go on here. So and there's a campaign map too. So this is when the situation July 18th. They have managed to get quite a bit of the island. Only Italian units left here. Yeah, the Italians also had spread a thin defense all around the island, just sort of very weak units in defense. And they kept their divisions inland to anticipate wherever the Allies would land, they would attack, basically. So that was the overall plan. And there's a campaign map 3. That's July 23rd. So now they have pushed, as you can see, it was pretty rapid advance. And towards the end there, August 12th, we have the last defense line. And as they sort of broke through, they pulled back. Kesserin, the commander-in-chief of the German forces, and actually the Italians as well, pulled back the forces there. So yeah, that's what comes with the game documentation wise. And of course you have all the editors, and that comes with every title basically, if you want to go into that. I have never touched this because I would not be a good scenario designer, I think, but it's there, you can do it. Right, back to the game here. All right, so let's have a look. Here are the main, as you can see, it's quite a bit. So this one here is the, we might actually have to pull up the documentation for that because it is quite a lot of main scenarios. I mean, grasping the big thing, the main Husky thing, campaign. So, but it's all here. So the Operation Husky, the first one there, is sort of, I think it's sort of a standard one. This one is like, the first, the only. No, but, the main one, basically. It's 351 turns, man. So, yeah. So, let me just check that. What would this be? Okay, so that is 70901S. Okay, so that must be this one here. Um, Edited by Williams. Okay, so actually there's quite a few of them here. Oh, no, it's very clearly stated here. Variant 1 and variant 2. Yeah, so these are these ones here. These two really researched ones. So 300, these are a bit longer, 381 turns there. So that's cool. Yes, yeah, it's actually quite clearly stated here that you have to check that PDF file for these scenarios. So they have an alternate. I think these are the. It says Saunders and Blackie, edited by Williams. So this could be those alternate ones that usually comes. Yeah, additional information can be found in the Sicily 43 alternate campaign change doc. And that might be a Microsoft Word document. They're not always. It won't show up in the in this menu program. Only the PDFs. So that's in there, but they come with every game basically. So I don't know if there's any difference. Actually, the Italian Sixth Army was supported by 2 German divisions. I think I said 1 before. That's wrong. So I guess there are some changes. Usually the rules, the recommended rules are different, and there's probably been some changes to units and stuff. So what's this all about? Actually, that would probably say in this. Okay, here we go. Look at that. It's a passive Hermann Göring division. Okay, so they have this. This would probably be easier to read. Dog's Breakfast. You could probably pause it here and have a read yourselves. Rock Paper Panzer. Okay, so that is options include either the historical setup, which much of this unit in the west, or central deployment. So you get to choose where you want your defense. That's pretty cool. Here we have a stronger allied, a stronger axis. Both sides are stronger. So many different variations, man. A lot of different ones. We're going to open one of these and you can have a look. And then you have these ones we read about, the stronger, both stronger, and they also have an alternate on every single one here. That's why it looks like it's so many of them. And then they actually start breaking it down as they usually do in their scenarios. They start taking sections and portions of the main campaign, so you could like different operations within the campaign, so you can so they're not that big. Like this is 10 turns, quite a few different versions of it. There's an alternate version, and then there is a long version of the same operation there. So this is the initial landings and stuff. And then you have Joss, the Joss Beach. Yeah, this would be the British, I think. It was eastest of all the landings. Yeah, so the British actually didn't get that much resistance as the Americans did. So they have different versions of that. Gala, old tanks and tactics. So yeah, many cool scenarios here, man. Hermann Göring. Yeah, something about that. Since it Kanikati. Yeah, so it's all divided in here, man. It's some good stuff. You can have a read as a pause the video and stuff. Here's something smaller. Dry Feet. What is that? What is the Dry Feet all about? Here we go. Sicily Dry Feet campaign. Okay, so this is probably not with the landings. Yeah, with the beachhead secured, supplies increasing daily, the Allies in Sicily were ready for the second phase of their effort to conquer the island. After a great deal of agitation and friction, General George Patton's 7th Army received the task of clearing the western half of Sicily, taking the port of Palermo. Okay, so that is pretty cool, actually. If you don't feel like playing the 351, you can do what you can skip the whole amphibious landing and just do the land battles. That's really cool, actually. So this is kind of tiny to read here. I actually had some problems with my computer lately. My old monitor was a big one, but it broke down. And it's actually in repairs now. So I'm using an old monitor. I'm recording now, so everything looks so small. Anyway, let's go. The Etna line, that's what it was called. That last belt of defense there. So, wow, that is quite big, 132 turns there, okay. So many of the scenarios are actually quite large, I would say, in this title. So, the more interesting ones are quite large. So the Etna line, yeah, as the Battle of Sicily entered the third week, General Hoob had set up a tight defense line running along the north coast of Santa Agata, south of Adrano, and then to the coast of Catania. Both Allied armies had been stymied in their drives up the coast, so now the keys to collapsing German defenses lay inland at Troina. Okay, so that's cool. It's pretty big as well. It's 132. They have two different of that. They have Sicily's highest city, Santa Agata. And the fight for Messina, it's 38 turns. The race to Messina, was that what it was called? Yeah, the race. The race to Messina there. So that was the last sort of attack there. By this late date in the battle, the final result of the king was no longer in doubt. Sicily would soon be completely in Allied hands. General Hoob issued orders on the August 11th to begin evacuating the 14th Panzer Corps. German strength had declined dramatically from the start of the campaign. The Luftwaffe no longer posed the threat it had early on. Yeah, pretty cool. 38 turns, that's doable more. Actually, they're all doable, but you just gotta have the time for it. Messina North, Messina South, and Messina harder. Okay, fixed German units. Okay, so there's some different scenarios takes there. The British race. Okay, so the US race. Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you have, all right, so that's what actually comes with the game, the scenarios there. Yeah, I hope you got a good overview there. A lot. Let's just open the classic one. It would be fun actually to open this. We can open them both. Let's just see this first. The grand thing, man. Let's put it on manual. Right, optional rules are the same. As there's no new optional rules as of the late 403 patch there. So they're all here. These are the default ones. Let's just put that on. And let's have a look. Yeah, so we start at the 10 o'clock, the 9th, 1943 there. Wow, 351 turns, man. Okay. All right, zoom out a bit. Is that max zoom out? I think it is. We're going to have to do the jump map here. Right, so here you go. Look at, they have the whole map here. It's fucking amazing, man. So cool. Right, so you have the landings there and the landings there. And a prelude to the there was a big airborne operation as well that actually went tits up. It didn't really work out that good. They had some big problems. Drops were way off, and it was sort of a chaos situation. But the chaos in the Allies actually played in their favor, because the Germans, especially around this area, the Germans had really had a hard time. First of all, they were actually surprised that there was such a big attack happening in Sicily, but the element of all these scattered drops actually caused a lot of confusion confusion and headaches for the German and Italian defenders, because they were basically all over the place. You know, they, and that made it harder for them to actually focus on finding them, because they were everywhere. So, and it was of course confusing for the Allies, because they, you know, it was a nightmare to find your units and organize some sort of, you know, really coherent attack and fulfilled your objectives. So that was a big problem as well. You can actually, just by looking at this, you can see that this is a huge mountain, you know. The maps are really nice now. You know, look at all this terrain. Look at the rough terrain here, man. Oh, nightmare. So stuff of interest for the Axis. I think you have here. You have. Let's zoom in a bit. Of course, you have the 3D zoom in here. So they were around this area here. Here you have the Hermann going Panzer Division. Yeah, so they are badasses, morale A and stuff. Whole division. I think they weren't. I think they were split up. Wasn't there a part over here as well? Maybe the whole actually division. Yeah, it was. Okay, my bad there. All right, so you would have another division here. Which one was that? So check it out. What do we got? We got. Oh, this is Kampfgruppe Fulleride. They're all badasses, man. Maybe here. Now this would be the Italians, and that's not a divisional headquarters. Maybe over here. Here we go. The 15th Panzer Grenadier Division. All right. So I would imagine they are part of that. I didn't check that. Yeah, they're part of that. Okay, so 2 divisions. Yeah. And the Italians, of course, must have had quite a few, since there was a whole army group present here. So they have Kampfgruppe Enz, they have the Stug 3Gs, classic artillery, they have mechanized infantry, and motorized engineers, and some heavy guns present. Here's an Italian division, 26 Assiette division, morale D. Yeah, so it's always the problem with the Italians there. You have the coastal division, man, morale F. Oh, terrible. Yeah, these were very small units, like 85 a pop there. So just sort of basically holding that. I mean, I gotta check the command radius. None of them are actually in command, so pretty bad. Pretty. That would be a nightmare to organize your defense when you're being attacked. But we got some armor here. All right, we got some French Hotchkiss tanks there. All right, captured from France, most probably. Cool. Let's get this. This is something else up here. Yeah, we have another division here. 28th Coastal Division as well. So quite a few coastal divisions present. What's these guys? 4th Livorno Division. These guys are a bit better. Morale C. We have some. Where's their head? It's probably hiding in this town. Yeah. No. Okay, that is a headquarters. Rossi. All right. He's in charge of this whole eastern sector here. Where would the Italian divisional headquarters be here? We have the mobile group here. What they got? They have those French tanks. Here we have some Italian tanks, M1340. All right, pretty lousy tanks, but some of their own there. Motorized infantry. Some more Italian tanks. And these are really bad. L640s. Yeah. But these guys are badasses, of course. What they get? They got the standard reconnaissance infantry there, half tracks and armored cars, Panzer threes and Panzer fours, both motorized and mechanized. We have some Panzer twos. And what else? I think there were some. Yeah, we got some Tigers here. Here we go. They were part of the. How am I going to Division? We're 504 Heavy Panzer Regiment. Yeah, so they are dangerous. Those are badasses. So they can outfield anything the Allies put in this island. Yeah, so as you can see, pretty cool. What would be the difference if I opened up, let's see, this is interesting here. Let's see what that is all about. Okay. 381 turns. So this is that special. Okay, we have a different command report. Objectives expire. That's interesting. Yeah, those are pretty cool because they sort of force you to actually be on the attack. That's the Allies before they expire. If the Germans or the Italians can hold them long enough, they will get the victory points. So cool. What's different here? Let's have a look at the map. Wow, looks like actually more units. Different placings. Yep, different placings. So they're morale C here, morale B. So they sort of lowered them from the almighty A. That's probably more okay. The Panzers are organized into one big Panzerabteilung 504. 17 Tigers, man. Different organization. And some differences in units, I would say. See, we have the Panzer 3N here. That's the one with the short barrel, sort of the infantry version. 32 Panzer 4s. That's cool. They're not as lousy. Oh, they are. Yeah, they are. Morale F, some units. But some have D, so they're not as crap as... So there are some big changes here. These are usually a heck of a lot more researched. So playing the alternates or these are probably... Sometimes, because they came after the initial release of the game. So people actually put down a lot of time and effort to make them... more up to date, basically, with research and stuff like that. But so sometimes these are actually, if you want more realism, yeah, these are the ones to go for, the alternate ones, or as these ones here, special scenarios. Of course, we have Messina up here. There is actually a Panzergrenadier group here. Festung Messina. They're fixed. All right. So, pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know what else to add to this introductory video. I'm definitely going to play something of this on camera. I'm not sure yet, though. Let you decide. Type in the comments and stuff what you would like me to play here. Nothing too big. But maybe some of those other... like the smaller ones. I mean, this would be fun. Maybe the initial landings there. Joss could be fun. This is the British landings, yeah. Gaelite, 12 turns. Be fun to try something on. Something a bit more like this one, 20. Bridge too far. All right. Yeah, I don't know. You guys, I've showed you, so you can have a look. Yes, I'm going to end it here, man. I think I've covered most of it. Cool title, man, I must say. Really bringing this whole Sicily campaign under wraps with everything there. And I really think it's powerful that they have made the whole island as well. That is some feat, some cool mapping going on here. So definitely worth picking this title up if you're interested in the Italian campaign. And they do have 2 titles as well. They don't have one. I'm like, they should have one that covers the northern campaign of Italy. That's probably coming in the future. Who knows? So I'm actually going to end it here, man. And hope you guys enjoyed it. And like and subscribe and stuff. And there will be coming up a Let's Play. If you want it, I'll do it. And so I'll do that. All right, so I'm going to end it here. Have a good one. And I will see you later.